So this session, I thought that uh, we could begin with, I have these three short films. Um, and the first film is one of the earliest films I made in Shillong. After I returned in 2000 back to Shillong. And this is a series of films and photographs I do, which is called Tourist Information for Shillong. And Shillong, everyone thinks of it as a great tourist place. So I was bloody hell irritated. And you know that in Goa, you are also full of, tourists like me. So these are series of films I did. And the person who walked in, Robin, Robin is one of the key poets from Shillong, and uh, if there is one guru of cultural things in modern culture in Shillong, it is you can trace it to Robin's work and Robin's encouragement of. I was a school kid, and he was a college teacher, and he's the first person I know who was older to me who I could call by his first name. Nito sir, uncle, chacha, and all that kind of thing. So first film I thought is I'll show you a film which is based on a poem by Robin. And this is a film whose copy I don't have, so it's a very bad copy. It's a film called Bad Places, and it is the first film in the series of films called Tourist Information for Shillong. So I'll just put on the film first, and you can watch the film, and then we can, so we'll intersperse it with film. Bit of entertainment rather than we going chatter chatter. Okay.
Yeah. So give a brief about his tourist things. The first thing Tarun did, took a photograph of all the no photography signs in Fontanas and put it up.
Which I have been doing for a very long time. I have a collection of photographs of notices saying you can't take photographs from All India Radio to everywhere. So I found it interesting.
That's a resistance movement in itself.
Where nothing's making sense. Present is the past. Past controls the future. You're up under confusion. You're fucked by the system. Chickens get it over with. Narrow becomes your freedom. Too broad your negativity. Broad but in hell. Broad but you got sex. Back to the attitudes. Girls in the plastic. Got me steroids. Super pain. Super commodities, fuck them all. Grow it all. Such a stupid life. Such a stupid life. Such a stupid life. Such a stupid life.
Sorry for the sound, there was some confusion. We can, if you have any questions about the film, I thought that I'll show you this film. It's one of the early films I made. It also sets you know, you get to understand Shillong beyond its great clouds and hills and we have a life which is as complicated, as funny, as bloody. Hello. So if you have anything on this, because after this I want to show you a sweet film, which is about, again, the last person whose face you see in the film, after I married Angela, I realized that he was my brother-in-law, who was killed in an encounter on 15th August.
Yeah, just to give a background, like Northeast India have been in an armed conflict with mainland India for like long time. Naga movement started around like 1920s onwards, I believe, and Assam wanted to secede from India. There is Manipur is still burning, and like if you read the history, you will know how the whole area has been a militarized zone for such a long time, and all these armed conflicts that we grew up in that, like we have seen like the how we love Indian army. There's a point of time when we were growing up, we used to like see them as the like the bloodiest army, because there's a lot of tortures happened, like one generation, two generations got maimed by the operations of Indian army. I'm not saying it's like bad for that part, like it's like both the sides were at war. It's like a political war, and it's like a political will also to keep the border states volatile. And it's a what a starting of the day with this, like talking about conflict and all. And in Robin sir is here, he's a poet, he knows. Akhu is here, he knows. Prasun sir is here, who was reporting on conflict from Northeast India for a long time. So I urge you to read more about Northeast so that you get to know, despite being in one India, how there's a polarization is happening. Yes.
I call India an accidental cartography. It's an accident. No one asked Khasis whether they want to be Indians. No one asked Nagas if they want to be Indians. Manipur was independent till 1949. They were an independent kingdom. Not a kingdom, it was going to be a constitutional monarchy. They had a constituent assembly. It is as if none of this history, when people say that you should read history, I always flinch. What history are you going to read? No one is going to tell you about a person called Wycliffe Siem, who writes to United Nations in 1947, saying, no one is asking us Khasis that whether we want to be Indians. He wanted to be part of Pakistan at that time. And then they asked him, why do you want to be part of Pakistan? And he said a very nice line, in which I always, it's quite an inspirational line. He says, Delhi is too far from us. And these histories, so one of the things, I'm an outsider, I'm a non-tribal, I grew up there. I'm supposed to be frightened of the savage people who surrounded me in that sense. And so it took me a long time to understand, when you ask people from Northeast India, when they're coming to Goa, for instance, or Delhi, they'll say, I'm going to India. It's quite a favorite line, we are going to India. And as an Indian, because my name is Tarun Bhartiya, the most embarrassing name, because my father did not want to give me a caste surname, so he called me Indian, and now I feel very embarrassed. But then I realized that as a foreigner in a land, how do I understand the place I am in? I may be an outsider. What is the kind of friendship I can build? What is the kind of conflict I can get into? So for a long time now, that's what I have been doing, trying to not to belong, because belonging is something which we can talk about when I show you my photographs, because belonging is overrated for me. You have to belong to a community. I have to be a Methil, I have to be a Khasi, there are other kinds of, that's why I think friendships and conversations are a better way of, they help me think about being in a place better than the idea of belonging. So I want to show you a film. It's a film completely different from the first film. It's a part of a series of films I made called Songs to Live By. Because, there is this heavy thing about folk music, folk culture, and all these kind of things. And especially if you live in a tribal society, you are supposed to be the, bastion of folk culture. You're supposed to go to Republic Day and do your folk dance and tribal dance and, so I was, for a long time, I used to go to these programs in Shillong, and you have these folk musicians come up and they will sing you this beautiful song about how we love the environment, how God is, the usual, And there is something about folk music which is, you think that that is the authentic people's voice. So I said, okay, let me go in search of folk music. If it's really an authentic way of singing, and so I made these films and I set certain rules for myself. And this is a much later film, so I was, little better as a filmmaker. So I set some rules. One was that I will never ask anyone to sing. So I would reach a place, spending time meant drinking quite a lot. Because one of my other ambitions is to drink as many kind of local alcohol as possible. And in Northeast is a place to drink. So I will not ask anyone to sing. I will not ask anyone to repeat a song. I will not record the song in a studio. So there are 6 films. And the film I'm going to show you is the first film in that series. It's called Brief Life of Insects. It is set in an area of Meghalaya, which is called Rebhoy. Rebhoy, Northeast, you talk about diversity in India. We say that number of languages spoken in India, number of languages spoken in Northeast far outstrips the number of languages spoken in India. Each village can have its own language, which is not understood by the next village. There is a language which only one person speaks now, and she will die. So it's that. So Rebhoy is an area in Meghalaya. It borders Assam. It's full of different tribes. So I can count at least 9 in that area. So that is a place where I went, and it's same rules applied, that I'm not going to ask anyone to sing. If they sing, that's okay. So I actually shot much more than for 6 films, because people didn't sing. So it's a film called Brief Life of Insects, and it's a dancing film. If you want to get up and dance to the song, you're welcome to.
Kaben situ em sedir ang. Kaben cicong sa. Ajin. Hanya bar ngayung. Ngayung, ne? Tadi? Wah, terkurdang ke dim kah? Ya arti nah kan dah. Nah jam. No, tapi. Jam. Kesang mana dah? Kesang mana? Baras lecah. Kesang. Lorok kesang. Berapa? Itu. This is what I think what it is. Gambar ki katuga kenyang iong kenyang soprim. Dan katuga kenyang koki. Tercak. Sange ka tegem tuman. Haba mereka jengurwi tegem kami ka cenong ka tau dai lengam ongi. Dai lengam cercar kambe embrure kambe embrare. Loda emrite kasur kana kono telengam hati ka cenong ka tau. Ka klau ka petap kolum ka wa dai lengam. Tegem le ite teman kami cua cem kru di chong chet ichnong chet ithau sa baka tam baka pot baham baksing babam bamuri wa chaweng man kamian te chet ke chnong kate ka jing cem chung iya ba me kini ki jing rui peteng cici. Ya cim peteng ong ya cim peteng. Ini betip berengah ini betip. Udah melim ini cuto kemte sini. Nah. Jasnang jakra do tu. Haman dari sekian lah. Cit ke cenong, cit ke tau. Uwi tok te de pedang nom. Uwi deni de pertam. Uwi situ. Dang doktor di te sedang curwi. Dapoi pi mobi ka dapoi I kon kana. Tai hosta. Utai di te sedang curwi kamta. Te dasnap uni dapat. Dang uni dapat wadang. Uni dapat ong olok jong mari ten kaili ja hakli umwang ngate dirahoi tewa om upacarang man ite wacar tu pausa kapawar kiput sodong jong karak nyungtung. Ngam ngacirui kiput sodong nongtung kumno basdang ciman kanangan basdang mini yam lat baminda trukwan nasnong umat sa tercingkan kumkaulu sate dakang daka yam sati daka kan sani yam kakai lengar li tung slaal kendir lapret bang bu trawan man no nerka no nerka
udah kemni yo kelas aku rembien pergi
no nerka bat ka jamjar bat ka smubha bat ka smupsi bat ka smutnat ka jingim ki jogi ki nomrap dala katu kat ni tayo haba sakut ketu jingrap la jenjar umyo lap cu ban aino tata haba la dep ketu ka jingrap pa ala ya smentenat la ya pu sapaki la ya kran ya khana ya rwa ya siao tu antara de ka porap on me la long kuma thar sam ki khna
rumah ni no boleh di
la Sera dah kana kan orang gatu kesur cokoban itu ada sini ni pasta beli bensin ni
bergelap.
dah Tiga. Kamu teh. Kamu. นี่ลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาkata ku ceri ci kemana bakla itu kemana rasul
Kami berat lari yang wali ya. Kita tidak bisa.
right in there đập trong lăng hậu đập trong lăng hậu quạt đầm và uk ba yo thấy đập ba cặp đập tí lót uk ba kami wat đầm cả đây chỉ tay là chỉ kurba Manda dok ini kasnia kok bai thabao đắp trong lăng hậu đắp trong lăng hậu gọi chơi đắp picharut cakir to đắp ha perdi waro ya mak gilap wadat bai hai ni dosa mentini kiwaring kani ka korhai đap trong lăng hậu đap trong lăng hậu Katua trầm uk ba tơ hồi gió đập thì hay tu có đâm có lăng tơ đây tơ cái jenggot kebun tapi bak benak bun tambah haba om dah pergi pula om teh sana kita jemput ke kebun kuat benda kentang kuat benda kentang kebun bagi jemput lada ngemyara pengelayap layap letak lembab oh ya dak klai hoi oh ya dak klai hoi Mewa kamba otlo pen prasendong hai tu đắp trong lăng hậu đắp trong lăng hậu vợ chơi đắp thia ca điên ca tí tơ đắp hà uk ba hơn cái bụi rồi chấm ra waro ya ma ipewaki kali dasurap amanda poi ite hajin yora iwa iho ta perdata wa iha cengkir uboy menri Wapang kanga baca karadang caya udah katari Kadang duma bah nadir tersimbi hoi Klalek ว่าคนลามาเมเตกันน้องว่าคนสู้ลอยนางวาลีเมเตโอ้กันเดรจงว่าปาตุบวาลาวันเมเตโอหลอกลันเตรากาสินดุบนางวาลีเมเตโอกันเดรจงว่ากาสลีนHawala wan mete o dating kiwa hajing kasula me kahe hika upame u arkara patlun me kahe sertu te upame cha senduk kerut kerut Pila cai sudah poi udah liwap su kerut pila cidat dapoi udah liwat cat salah iwa teh wacam cu ni rekong cu ni reka I jam I cu ni wasa kedong đập trong lăng hậu đập trong lăng hậu đập đè roai por đa serum mai thao wa dai ma đập roai sejam se dam sawai ru bhai mandri Angka masih ada kaki Mari bungkam dengan bungkam bentuk bungkam bentar. Ini supun kelan yang terhantung tuh. Jong 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 mari bo ka arpi lieng mete o nang sa cha polu o ya lang ida po chlong te ya ko ya li cho do o te ku tembut jam cha neng te po ya so po Aduh wadah idat lem ci jale I cup pen smat wa maklakam kado perti tengkrung dau nyang ketam do wadah idat lem ci jale I cup pen smat kep kep da deng kep kep da wa kawi te chlap depat Kisni wali thu do kor wa karbek jam kado kaplak wa jo rehi te dam ka di dam kat ni wa baka wang hai ni toko ya a chu I ne la re I pendap chat da ka thlit masi Cikam uca merdoot Cikam uca rendam Mut uci li kentir ka kap te prut dalit wiksem Kadir kang kang rang Kadir kang pai roho Sohan wa ikon cinta te pengdang wa ukon poho Marni sene lai tang kuba senyam surat kai tang ban yo bai jur bai sini bai piat bai so barhadu ban ai nak pisa ban ya gitu ginong tre ginong wan bela demio Begitu kita wabe ya bisa be ya kata kada wong ne bahabiania silok. Kawe me tangkasang keren ketu kalang kumi. Me tangkasang kat gane bafsa ka jing tre mempe memkumi. Dan kata kada. Dala be ka porap. Sedang biang kata jing semetenat. Amdala hamar ba pedang rap untuk hari tiki benai Jun Julai lajan kud Julai tata laya dan kebiakar pure tat hayim. Mata duh hanga makluti duh hanga harap no dang nak akan tahu wata dang do cenderang wata ngakat ni cingi ci tahu wata tai kata du hanga harap area belang layak keluar hai tu campur pernah Julai layak keluar kemudian kita pula mo kata kata ruai parang keba misai ruai dek tepan ruai mo to kabang kumne mo ya snap barang mo kabang haulu doi ran ban pane haulu doi one and all I want so closely welcome you sapi dat me ko bless you everywhere haulu doi ran ban pane haulu doi Kong I kong A kelakasi langsung kong I kong A hatrai so ma kong I kong iu hatrai so di tasnang yo kapoy gitu kenyang hi sudah be itu ikara-kara kubah bolong kumne mau ngapen ini kadai kumne ini beri-beri sudah tentu sukun ham. Apa kejekuat jangan ban. Kalau jadi habat ngabat kejekuat bang lekre rumah saya kuat. Saya mau habis senyap deh. Bertunduk di slide. Mailaru tekam bon manuna kata. Rak saja mbak kata. Midda boy laru tekam ubon manu. Tesa. Dar sedang. Boy ha umpa binla kam usahe babu kata. Let ABCD jangal jaiga didi. Ani kajak deka carai masih. Sao ayam cheese nam ya pateng cham. Jing im ka kala chere salandam nang no chi we stand up on the bench sakat no chi we sit like gentlemen te abakum te amko kya perwa and we shall be not baraga nang nin kasmi bebe masti chai tei manda poi hajing te chrai kabe ong kabe habe masi re chai tu gorre pichi ma jo bam bagi bru midda boy laru te kam uban manu Boy ha umpa win kam usahe babu Boy ha boy rembong jo cidang merdong du cismi arsngi ha ustring kali la 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 Yalang ida pochnong te ya ko ya li chodo te ku tembut jam chaneng te poi ha sopo Adu wadeb idat lem ci ya le I chut pen smat wa ma la kam ka do perti tengkrung da unyang tan
Wow, beautiful that was. Yeah. Of cultural markers that you follow. Like what I want to ask you, Arwe, Bah Tarun, Bah means the brother Arun, or Dakar, the outsider? Because we've got a name here for outsiders, you know. What's your take on that? Acceptance and alienation.
Hello, yeah. Like in Jharkhand, you have a word for outsider, which is Diku. Khasis also have a word for outsider, which is Dakar. And lots of Dakars feel that it's a very insulting word because it describes you as, Dakar, outsider. So I always tell people that, once I was sitting with my daughter, and on Cartoon Network you have these birthday wishes. You could write to them and they will say happy birthday something. So I asked my daughter, do you want to send your name? So she looks at me and she says, no, they only show Hindi people's name. So I said, because she's half Khasi, so I said, but I'm also Hindi, so you think that Hindi people are always privileged. She says, no, you are not Hindi, you are Dakar. So, it is, so the word she used was supposedly for Dakar is an insulting word. And I think that that tension is the tension in which I think I have found my solace. So I am Tarun, obviously. I'm also a Dakar, and I'm not embarrassed of being a Dakar. If someone calls me, if you read my Twitter bio, I always love collecting the words people use for describing an outsider. So being an outsider in that sense, it's not that I have a better view of things, but it is something, it's a fact. So what, should I sit as a victim and say, acha yaar, I'm outsider, I should not say anything? Because one of the things which outsiders have in Shillong, because there have been anti-outsider movements where people have been killed or there have been riots. So there is one sense of, I have been, but I realize as an Indian, when someone describes me as an outsider in Shillong, I feel very insulted. Yaar, main Indian hu, how come these Khasi people are describing to me as an outsider? But technically they are right. We are there in their land. So, then what you do? What you do is these films, which are like deep in Meghalaya, but in the villages there, some of the places where you have to walk for 8 hours to reach there, and but you have taken 8 hours, you go and sit there, they call you Batarun. But then I tell my friends in Shillong that people in Shillong, even Khasi elite in Shillong, is as much an outsider to this place as I am.
True.
So I think, let's not get too, that's why belonging, outsiderness, I think that those are, for me at least, those are the questions I find them very, very boring questions. Because
I still want to dig more though.
yeah.
So from the films that you are showing us, so I can see that you follow the language. You follow the language, Khasi language.
I follow Khasi language, but as a linguist friend of mine says, that don't call it a Khasi language. It's a Khasian group of languages. It's, people say, like the tongue in which this particular film is made, it says also, if you search for the film, Kten Nongtung. Kten is speech. Nongtung is this 5-village state.
Okay.
So they speak, and one of the things which I think I managed in this film, these series of films, because once you go there, people start, when you have come from Shillong, they start talking to you in standard Khasi. Standard Khasi is Chirapunji Khasi, which is proper Khasi, So I would say, please speak in your village tongue. And so they would say, you will not understand. I said, it's okay, let me not understand. And so I understand standard Khasi. I can't speak very well because my children really laugh at me when I try speaking Khasi. But I can understand. But, for these films, my knowledge of Khasi was not very useful. even the film translations, there are certain places where things are not translated. The reason was that they refused to translate it. There is the last film in the series, these old ladies, I kept insisting, please translate. So there's a whole section without translation. Even their children could not, because they're extremely vulgar. Even in this, they refused to, they said, no, 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 people will laugh at us if you translate this for you. So, you know, this is a translation. And translation, that's why we constantly translate. And translation, is much more than communication, it's the translation which is basis of our friendships. And so as an outsider, even for insider, translation is the way to go.
Cool. And I was just reading books from Meghalaya. It's about a tradition that where they embalm the body, you know, in that Kin Farm's book, Funeral Nights, you know, they embalm the body for like 6 months and people gather together and like do their rituals. And in that context, what are the other cultural markers that you think is like, I don't know how to put it, like what are the different cultural markers that you see that India do not know about it? You know, there's so many traditions.
Okay. So I started with geography, and let me try to do some ethnography. You know, the only place in India, only state in India where majority of its people practice something called matrilineal. You understand matrilineal? Matrilineal means that my children do not carry my surname. They carry my wife's clan name. Because as a human being, you can never belong to a man. You can only belong to your ancestral mother. So, you know, so my children, their surname is Rangat, and Rangat is my wife's clan surname. So matrilineal is a big thing. It used to be amongst the Nayars, I think, in Kerala. And in the last film, you'll see that is the question which I also examine about the question of matrilineal. So that is a big thing. So matrilineal is one big feature of, and the second thing which is, and that's where, let's go to this particular biblical package I'm carrying. It's also a majority Christian state. 86% of its Khasi people follow various versions of Christianity. I don't say you know, because by saying Christianity, it does not mean anything. And when I start breaking it down, because I always love breaking down these words, so Christianity would mean Presbyterian Christianity, Catholicism, Pentecostal Christianity, Unitarianism, Anglican, because most Indians think Christian means Christian. But in Meghalaya's context, it means many things. And that is something which I have been photographing for a very long time. The idea of faith, idea of being a Christian. Can you be a Christian and a tribal? Because if you hear these days, people almost think, you know, many of the states, Karnataka has legislated anti-conversion law. Odisha was the first one during Congress's time, which legislated anti-conversion law. Now all the states are doing it, you know, and which include also love jihad and all those kind of things in that. And so I was always very curious about being a Christian, because people tell you that, you know, missionaries came and they destroyed local cultures. It's a kind of a story which everyone accepts. Not only, it doesn't only come from conservative right wing, even many left wing people, they talk about authenticity. There is authentic culture, and there is a culture which gets destroyed by these colonial intervention in terms of missionaries. And so this is for around 17 years, I have been photographing faith. I started by, you know, being curious about faith, why people believe and those kind of things. But slowly I realized that that's not what times are demanding of what I'm doing. I wanted to then understand the historical thing, that are Khasis, by being Christians, become less of a Khasi? Have they lost their culture? Have they lost their identity? So this is a, you series of 100 picture postcards I have made about this story of faith. It's called Niam Faith Hinyo Trep.
What does it mean?
Niam is a Khasi word for, they describe the traditional faith, but it also can mean faith. And Hinyo Trep is because Khasi, the term Khasi, like the word Naga, is a word which the people in the plains use to describe people in the hills. So Khasi is a word which has no meaning in the Khasi language, if you understand what I mean, it's a term which the plains people use to describe. But the Khasis themselves describe their community as people of Hinyo Trep. Hinyo means 7, and Trep means houses. So at one point of time, in ancient times, there were 16 families who were on earth, and they used to have a tree. So every day they will come down on the tree from heaven, work on earth, and then they go back. And then one human being who was tempted by a tiger, who said that, why are you, what is this thing about heaven? Why don't you work on earth? You will make much more money. And so one of these guys who became greedy cut this tree which connected heaven and earth, and 7 families stayed back on earth, and 9 families remained in heaven. So they describe themselves as people who came from those 7 families. So Niam, Faith, Hinyo Trep. And just a small background, because I'm going to pass it on. I have shown this work, some of this work in various exhibitions, but the way the times are, because it is to do with conversion, it is to do with these questions, I find it very difficult to find spaces to show them. So I decided that I would carry it and I would make it, I will pass it around, let people see, because as a photographer or filmmaker, one doesn't need a cinema hall or, So what I'm going to do, they are in an order, certain order, but you can see them anyway, and we can have a conversation while you can keep passing the thing. So these are, yeah, let me just open it. And obviously cover is based on Sundays you will see lots of people carry this kind of a bag with their Bible inside, so I thought it was.
That is your political move.
These are picture postcards, basically. So I'll just pass it on, and then you can see and it can pass around the thing.
How many do you have in that set?
There are 100 postcards.
So you expect 100 back also?
Huh? When it was showing in Kochi, people started stealing the postcards. I don't mind if you steal the postcards, but I don't have any other copies right now. But if you write to me, what I have been doing is also, I'm trying to flirt around with the IT or the new rules which have come about posting things in the post office. Because there are rules now that what you can post, what you can't. So if you write to me and send me your address, I will randomly pick out a postcard, sign it for you, with the Khasi brand, and I will post it to you. Okay? So this will be on a postcard, and please, the user of cards like that, and people normally enjoy looking at pictures, and I hate pictures, because people get into whatever version of you. So please do look at the back, and this is why many people don't want to see it. So what is written at the back? a chain.
Tarunji, I want to ask you, like, most of your photographs are black and white. What is the idea behind that? Why the colors are devoid of?
It's not that I don't take photographs in color, but you can say that I don't know how to handle color. So black and white is something which I learned. I learned photography when film was used, and I can develop and print, and so I understand black and white better than um, color.
So tell me about some of your poems that you write in Hindi. You know, what is the audience like there in Shillong or Meghalaya of your Hindi poetry?
Um, Robin is not here. So I write in Hindi, but you know, in late 80s when there were lots of troubles in Shillong, there was something called Shillong Poetry Circle. And it was one place where all communities met. And I was in school, and someone like Robin, who writes in English, although he also writes in Meiteilan, so he asked me, and he said, okay, why don't you translate it? So I would translate. I would read my poems in Hindi and then immediately translate it into English. And because I'm interested in people listening, people reading. And that's what you do, isn't it? With friends, what you do? If they don't understand, you translate. You tell them what you mean. So I have never found it, and I don't see myself as a Hindi poet, although I write in Hindi, and I know about Hindi literature, and like my poems appear in anthologies of Northeastern writing.
Right.
So I see myself more as a Northeast Shillong poet than a Hindi poet. I'm a Shillong poet who writes in Hindi.
Okay. And about the all space that you have, the organization that you have, and what are the works you guys do, like for communal harmony, or like bridging the conflict between the insider outsider, because there's a lot of resentment against Bengalis, I have found, you know, like you get away, you know, you go out Bengalis and the Marwaris, there's a lot of resentment in like 90s, and it's still now the same thing.
It's a slightly different situation now, but we don't work for communal harmony. One of the things we realized, and basically, I work with unions. I'm a union organizer. I do politics. Filmmaking, photography, writing is adjunct to my political activity. I don't see myself as writer, artist, or filmmaker. So one of the things we realized was that other forms of solidarity, like solidarities of the working class, solidarities of things about corruption, those things where people can speak beyond their ethnic identities. That is a much more interesting way of doing what is called communal harmony. Communal harmonies can ultimately end up being a set of cliches. So an alt space is a space which we ran where there used to be films. We would have, so police shut it down. But we also run a magazine called Riot. So please go online and see it. It's www.riot.in. We have very interesting articles from Goa also on Riot. So, so please check it out. Riot is in Khasi means non-citizen. So it's Riot. Because in Khasi traditional system of government, which is much more democratic, you have the people who are citizens are called Khun Ki Hajar, the 1,000 children. And then there are prisoners of war and people from outside who can be non-citizens. So Riot, they're also included.
And you also have a rock star of a chief minister who plays guitar.
Very badly.
Tarunji, do you want to show another film right now, or how?
Anything else you want to ask? Yeah.
I'm uncomfortable with the term Northeast because when even the like Middle East is a perspective from the Western side, so therefore we're Middle East, this and that. How do they describe themselves as part of the unity of India?
See, this Northeast, I totally agree. It is a, at one level, if I say Northeast, it does not explain anything except for the geographical marker. Is it, so in one of the essays which I wrote, so is it Northeast of India or Northeast India? So it's a basically an administrative geographical description. But people, sometimes some of these words get used for, so even people from Northeast sometimes, when they come to India, they will use that term to create solidarity. Because if Indians are going to call them chinky, so can we have a counter solidarity to it? But within Northeast, we could be fighting each other. So, you know, the diversity and the discourse of inclusion and discourse of exclusion, both can exist simultaneously. So, you know, Northeast, like for instance, I tell people that it takes me longer to go from Shillong to Peren in Nagaland than it takes for me to travel from Shillong to Trivandrum. So, you know, so distances and even cultural distances, like in terms of languages, some of the oldest tongues are spoken in Northeast of India. Khasis, like Mon Khmer, which is really old. Tibeto-Burman, Sino something, and you know, it's like too confusing. So Northeast does not describe anything. How do they describe themselves? As different people. So Khasis will describe themselves as Hinyotrep people. Nagas, again a catch-all term, but they will say when they're talking to each other. So I normally in my filmmaking or any writing I do, I'm always interested in how communities describe themselves. I try not to use the word which outsiders use for them. So Hinyotrep people, I don't normally call them Khasis. Yeah, what's the time?
11:20.
Yeah, so I will just end with this last film. It's a film about my love and my shadi and my children, and it's called La Mana. If you ever come to Shillong, which you should, not to do tourism. Yeah, you should come. It's a very nice place. All around town, you would find these wall writings which says La Mana. What are prohibited here? So you can't gamble, you can't speak bad words, you can't drink, you can't do those things. So this film is called La Mana. And it is just a small background. One day my daughter comes to me. She was going to dance in a traditional Khasi dance, which young virgins are supposed to do before, so she was going to do it. So she told her friends, and her friends told her, you can't do this dance. You're not a pakka Khasi, you're not a pure Khasi. So she came to me and said, yes, then who am I? You know, I'm not pakka Khasi, I'm not Hindi. So only way I could talk to her is what I do. So I made a film. And it's a film called La Mana. And it's full of songs, like many of my films are. So I'll play that, and you can keep looking at. And I'll put in my email, so if you want copies of the postcards, please write to me. Free postcards. At the back, you know, it's okay. There's enough light. Some of the text is mine, they're quotations from other poets, archives.
I saw some longhand letters also.
Yeah, which are from archives and.
Our people, they are just to say, just very a pinch, no, a pinch of the population. no, of the entire nation. So within no time will disappear. Will like the birds and animal, they disappear very soon, no? So our Khasi culture also, if we don't think deeply,
Buy stuff also.
Like what? You will buy that. Full songs back to back.
I don't have your ring on my finger anymore. I have it on just the chain is it I got stuck on it.
I've always tried to think, that whether I, when I saw you first, obviously it was clear that you're Khasi, but did it operate in my mind that it's going to be different or something like that? I really didn't think of it really seriously.
I also didn't think of it, but then, later, when they said, in the Raja Jamsuk and all, then you start getting worried, no? Ki, oh my God, what if this guy scoots?
Meghalaya has a unique feature. It is the home of the last matrilineal society of the world among the Khasis.
Die Khasis. Sie leben in einer matriarchalischen Gesellschaftsstruktur.
Hello and welcome to From Our Own Correspondent with Owen Bennett-Jones. And later today, the part of India where it's the men who are demanding sex equality. Timothy Allen is in Meghalaya.
Meghalaya's climate is somewhat of a phenomenon. Close by, the village of Cherrapunji once measured an astonishing 26.5 metres of rain in 1 year, a fact still acknowledged by the Guinness Book as a world record. But the rainy season is over for the time being, and it's Meghalaya's other claim to fame that I'm here to investigate. It appears that some age-old traditions have been ruffling a few feathers of late, causing the views of a small band of male suffragettes to gain in popularity.
Ting là làm việc là đi thiên lấy văn viên abang kata bangi ông này bangi là ai bor than kan thai kum nem tai dei kam da dei than fi kata basya namar hot ngi buram hai ki kan thai ngi ajak kan thai tama hayeng hi ukpa tu di kupa pada kalau nak mata kupa mut kum subu nak mata imengi te kanum don kapur ben ong in tiu sa da imengi ipa ne mo kalau mata ne in trikam i pa imei in siong do kamlang mata so mangi buram en kabha nga sit khan kabha namar kum mata bangi lech hayeng siang kan thai kum nga khan diam kyau sa ni mo tilang kabahate ka to namar lada mentang si ikum siang ang sila tu jingrai hilar homes kadi sipang family home, family abuse. Tolong ilong subuh mentala lang saat ni deh. Olong subuh kekentai kawan kali yang serang subuh dah kesalai her deh kamlali itu teng kamdan buat kekentai tu mah so ulok family members kamdan dari kumah ni teh ngadi serang teh mah gila aku tak semak lah.
Look what we done to ourselves. Look what we done with our lives.
Kita saja dulu mah, semua saja. Kita kan thai boleh. Kita boleh. Kata dasu komen su nak hot dan sisa kita kisaran ke besar nyan lu. Kata mong hima kadang dan sia. Tambalong pada
ki don bet ki broken family broken home ki don bet cinta ka don bet namar ba da khen ko mangiru ni ko ngilong ka family jung in kalong united na because don ime don pa wana ro ba khlat ime ngasong ba ka family jungi kam long strong skum ba long ni kong gain ta ka bon kam don so na do ba khlat ime kla long na la ka bon tu hina na ka bon.
Broken hearts are home my family life. Just live life and never think twice. We're killing ourselves and everyone else. Like this boy with this poison, like we've been poisoned. As long it's about ngisi keren bahala sepang ketu. Sepang. Asla. Domestic violence. That's the perfect word.
You're looking and
Yagane ka play la pala dangshan Shillong Press Club ka bade ka thup balaring ne ka jele ka State Central Library. Lengba ka ne ka play ka mat chaprang ka pen I kumno baki wai par ki jai benreo ki khen po ocean rang khasi baude balami ta ka buat barubam dan jacket kli ela ga yen ka sembar ki khun ki khti.
Papa, I have wonderful news to tell you.
Well, tell us this wonderful news, my dear. We are all here.
Like there's a joke, huh? This guy was sitting in a bus. Conductor says, "Hey, that's a lady's seat. Have to get up." That he mun jaga song, he lo mun jaga song, habos mun jaga song. You know, so it's more psychological.
Romeo and I.
But Juliet, why? Why a Khasi man? A noble man who inherits no property or title.
Juliet, if you marry him, he'll come and stay with us in our house, and if he is unemployed, we'll have to feed him.
Like we don't have a script. We don't have a script to trace our history. But we've just been told true stories. But before the Khasis were patrilineal. But because we are constantly engaged in warfare, you know, raiding the plains, fighting with each other. So, you know, the Khasi men give the title not to the woman, because when the men die in the battlefield, then at least the title will continue with the woman. How far that is true, we don't know.
When Sukman Singh came, I wanted to dance, and my dad is basically Bihari, so everybody said you can't dance because you're not Pakka Khasi. I said I don't care. My mother is Khasi, so I can obviously dance, and I don't care what you think they are. Oh yeah, and then when they saw me the final day, they were like, "Oh my God, you're actually dancing," and they were all like, "It's wrong, you should not be here, you should not." Because it was kind of fun dressing up, so much jewelry.
that. Martin, this special man.
Ronald! Ronald!
Entahlah telang tu naik tu ini kayaknya. Hey, dah sana ni. Hey. You know love?
Remember when we were quoting and Maulai?
I know, I had to go and drop you because I was so scared you'd be beaten up.
Parlok Barok, ni semua bahaban pen I yakni ke documentary film belajar kerteng Maulai ke bala walam syapi dan ke Community Documentation Committee Maulai.
DP Khasi. Oh, beli pesannya. Oh, kan ni langsung LP. LP dah. Kena.
The ILP, a British-era law to protect the hill people and indigenous citizens, has often been raked up by the Khasi Students' Union, bringing into sharp focus the insider-outsider issue. This time, at least 10 pressure groups are agitating over the issue.
Asal ni kinong yang bayari LP bukan sebuah kilang kelantar berkat kumur kijak unti imat esi ladang kita pemelak pempala komisi singas pak geruk marwai kita terlihat kedau besar merang masuk banang jika kita berok mentah kilang sedai imat ikut selabadan nak thok mentah kila terbaik kedai gajing sisa bukan yang kedai pak pempala hatu kamdai yang kamdai kita terbeli bisa kelah batutup bagari kasi mentah kesat pemerang pebun apa hat berkam dari perok kita percaya senai bapli babak untuk EA setang gajing kini bisa balai yang dikasih is kesya pemain gini lo, jaro, daerah itu, jelas betul tu. Macam mana ini tu ILP? ILP ni apa tu? State of lava, daerah kita. Jumut jangan macam tu, macam mana? Kena bintang.
Okay, let me start us up, start rolling from the block. Need the city of rock, call this a city of hip hop. The back, is all black, what I want. And invincible touch, she don't gotta hit you that number. Disappear to scene like an air balloon. I'm like, what you better go, I never quit the fortune. Okay, I'm never ashamed, even though I lost the game. But the best of what I'm giving the best, and never get it, bitch. Hit me fine, but don't cross my line. Cause sometimes I love to be another one. Okay, belonging to a black serious black shit warrior. A gunshot, and I can't stand alone to the so you're never gonna see me in a library, but my mind can run faster than that technology. Bitch, there's no way to cross my path because you did.
No, ini tu ILP. Sepang tu medan kita nak hadap mentah ILP 4 iyo tu ayo tu bengi dawa tu ILP am dalam long nonta kan dan di weekend tian plat tu bang ba lesi di kat selama ba ya up nam ta kat selama mentah long plat pen dia Pengumuman lah. Nama hadap mentang pak iyo tu LP dan nama ribun nang yalam tu ta iman de badan dan biang hat kuno ni kong gila ya keren ya portas mintai dengan ta dalam mentah ber sujak ngai ni lama sujak untuk lesi dan ibas sendat bamla penpau mah.
They're confident what I'm doing. Mind's right like a turn. Then the actions speak louder than word. Every clown is so fake. Every hater try to do it so bad it up. I never deal with the bullshit because I'm cool and real. Now I hope you get it.
Ni berasa baik baru aja tu baru T7. Dah beli T7, orang speak je nak pai ba bela penolong deh. Hat lagi lagi keseng halang. Hak kebaik deh baru juga orang mereka dia.
It's not. Oh, sheesh. Here you go. Turning reveal. Say hi. Hi. Okay, so I'll ask you a few questions. Are you willing to answer?
Yes.
Say yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what are you?
I'm a boy, Indian boy.
Okay, now ask your question quickly.
Okay, who are you? I don't know. I need humanity and society to happen.
It'll be the Masudi.
Jingyam Kariti, the lament of Riti. Kilayapenbor dau parajat. You see the very opening line, Kilayapenbor, it refers to her family, forcing her to do this. Kilayapenbor dau parajat, kado jong kado, kasnam jong kasnam.
Pidei ka kun klik po kia ong. Kaban fikir yu kiuja, ka spa jong ka yi. Pidei ka nong sumar jong ka kur, kaban penne ya ka khong.
Hatu pihun ya laki kun, pei soti, pan penjabo ada kasnam urondi, usembai ude ban long ubabha. Henrei kaminsim jonga kashlei de kajing bhabri jong pi ko bai ngalaput habathia Masudi
First initial reaction was that, oh my god, how could they make a song which is so communal and that is playing on FM radio?
Did you have any idea that where the song was coming from or anything like that?
It was part of the KSU album, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's not racist, it's not community prejudice, nor is it patriotic or pro-Khasi in any way. It is simply this, it is based in reality. In these relationships between Khasi women and non-Khasi men, there is also a lot of love involved. There are, of course, there are people there are many people who take advantage of their relationship with Khasi women. There are people who do it, for Benami transactions. I'm not denying that. That is also there. In fact, the purpose of the poem is also to raise that discussion. But also, there is the other side of it, that people come together, they come together, they live together, they marry each other because of love. And if you really do a thorough survey of Khasi society, you will find that most of the achievers in Khasi society are progenies, are children from mixed marriages.
Hello, welcome to As We Want the World to Live. And our guests today are a very interesting couple from northeast India, Stanley and Helen Nichols-Roy. Stanley has been very active and still is in the political life of his country. He was for several sessions a member of the Assam legislature. We don't know a great deal more about northeast India, so perhaps you could start off by telling us a little bit about your part of the world.
Yeah. Well, it is one of the areas known as the tribal areas of northeast India, and we have Khasis, who are one of the matrilineal tribes, and Garos, matrilineal tribe.
Perhaps you could explain what matrilineal means.
Well, that's where the line of descent comes from the mother's side instead of from the father's side.
The ruler.
No, not the
what does
ruler.
that mean?
Well, the men rule, but the women control the property and the name. The descent comes through the mother's side.
And you're a Khasi?
I'm a Khasi.
Yes.
This has keyboard margin control, key trip lever for jammed keys, individual touch control, and many other refinements. And now for the last word in typewriters, the first all-electric model. Attached to an ordinary lighting circuit, it consumes no more current than an ordinary radio set.
It was from 1960. I got involved in politics after my father died. He was a member of the cabinet of Assam, and he had been one of those who helped to frame the Constitution of India
Because I believe your mother was American.
Yes,
Right.
she came from the state of Idaho.
So do you think it is the whole resistance in that sense is about the scheduled tribe, the law?
Yes, that scheduled tribe status does give you reservations, no, in schools, colleges, jobs, and all that. And there is a discussion that obviously the tribal elite, who don't even need that reservation, are the ones using it the most, whereas the disenfranchised and disempowered lot, whether you have tribal status or not, are still struggling.
I think we're short of time and we're coming to an end of this organization, of this conversation, but Tarun is around if you want to talk to him informally.
The link. Yeah.
Yes, and you can talk to him informally also. And any last words for the Goan audience? Would you like to, any message of advice, if not message?
Advice, message, all these things are obviously not boring. No, but one of the things in Goa, if you come from Shillong, for instance, we understand Kashmir, we understand Goa. It is difficult for us to understand North India. It is difficult for us to understand. So like for instance, solidarities which people in Northeast, for instance, Article 370 when it was removed from Kashmir, our local papers in Shillong, in Nagaland, in Mizoram had better coverage of it than national papers ever did. Because India was when Khasi chiefs decided, only two places there was instrument of accession. One was Kashmir and one was Khasi chiefs. When they decided to be part of India or be with India, there's a difference. Or they wanted to be part on their own accord. They wanted to be Khasi. India may come later. So they could be Khasi, they could be Christians. You can have multiple things. So I think rather than being proud of being Indian, I think we should be proud of being Goan or Khasi or, diversity is something we shouldn't be frightened of. Divisiveness is not something to be frightened of. What is to be frightened of is unity. Anyone who says that, let's be united, I run away.
Cool, that's a good
I want to
mantra
have
to start
argument.
with. Very good. Thank you, audience. Thank you all. And thank you, Tarunji, for a beautiful conversation. Thanks. Questions?
Thank you very much. I think you came from the east of India, but many of the points that you raised resonate here as well. as an outsider to Goa who has lived here for 11 years, I'm also proud to accept the title of outsider here. Thank you, Tarun. We'll reconvene here in 5 minutes for an exclusive book launch. So please come back or continue sitting as it is. Thank you.
And if postcards can come back, I would be really happy. And my email address is Tarun Bhartiya, TarunBhartiya, Tarun Bhartiya @gmail.com. And if you send me your address, you get a free postcard. Okay?